along with a ton of other acronym diagnoses. I've never written my story down, so please bear with me. The start of my story has some graphic details. The reason I did not leave this part out of my story is because it had a tremendous impact on my life journey. I did not understand my PTSD would lead into severe crystal meth addiction, but it sure as hell did. My story starts in London, Ontario, where I was born. My mother was 16 years old, my father was in his 30s. They tried their hardest raising me and my two younger siblings. London, Ontario, it was Father's Day 1990. I was 2 years old. My mother and father managed this building we lived in. They were responsible for the pool that was just outside of our patio. That morning they had to make a decision to close the pool because the chemical levels were off. I guess in hindsight, this was a blessing, where many more people would have witnessed what was about to happen. My Aunt Michelle was visiting. I walked outside to hand her a donut. Just as I walked outside, the building shook. A man on the 16th story, or some shit like that, jumped out of his bedroom window, totally naked. He hit the 5th story railing, severed both his legs. Before there was time for anyone to react, he hit the ground, right beside me. I can still smell the blood sometimes when I have this damn night terror that has terrorized me since I was a little kid. The police stated in the police file that if you landed in any other position, you probably would have killed me. My aunt, being in shock, jumped up and left me outside, covered with this man, his body imprinted on the ground. He's a 2-year-old covered in blood and brain matter. When the police showed up, they wouldn't let my mom put me in the shower for quite some time because, well, evidence, I guess. Thankfully, what we know now, this would never be allowed to happen. Trauma-informed practice is something I wish people knew about back then. I received very little counseling. He will forget was the answer my mom got as she took me from doctor to doctor trying to figure out my night terrors. We moved to BC the next year without my father. I started school, everything was going good. Other than the night terrors and being so full of energy, I never stopped moving, which doesn't make a lot of sense as I could never sleep a full night. I was a healthy, happy, very smart young man, as many people told my mom going through elementary school. I was in accelerated classes, never had to open a book, stirred the pot a lot with minor scuffles with classmates, however being diagnosed with ADHD in grade 3. Still, I was a French immersion, straight A student. One thing that held me back going through elementary school is I could never get a full night's sleep. I dreaded it. It was awful waking up in fear, experiencing sleepwalking, waking up thinking, where the fuck am I? Lying in the bathtub or in the corner of the living room. I knew something was wrong. I would always dream about a lot of blood, some moaning sounds, but couldn't put it together. I would wake up sweaty and full of anxiety and fear. Then the sleep paralysis started in grade 6. It wasn't until the sleep paralysis was happening every night that my mother, who was a pretty fucked up woman, sat me down and showed me the police report, the newspaper articles. Something clicked that night. I remembered everything. It set off something no one could have expected. I've had that dream almost every single night since that day, minus my time using crystal meth, where I would do everything in my power not to sleep. Sometimes I dream the whole day, sometimes just a loud noise, smell blood, and still wake up crying. I think this was the start of my downfall. I'm leaving out a lot of other traumas I endured because some are still too painful for me to speak about. Most of them happened after I started smoking crystal meth. Started smoking pot at the end of grade 6. That summer I was in a lot of fights with students I didn't like. I was really becoming more angry with what was happening. Where was my mom? Not being helpful, that's for sure. She is an alcoholic and a flake, to say it nicely. Started grade 7, I didn't attend much, got good grades, but started skipping school. First hard drug I tried was that year, it was cocaine. I loved it, however it was too damn expensive, so I didn't keep doing it. Crystal fell into my lap later that year. I remember my first hit. I was high for 2 days, didn't have to sleep, it was amazing. Then when I did sleep, I did not dream. I remember waking up for my first time using and looking around. Wasn't sure where the hell I was. Still don't know, somewhere in the small town of Aldergrove, which is part of the township of Langley, where I lived. I lasted living in my crazy mother's house for a few months after starting using meth, then she kicked me out. I don't really blame her, stole lots from her. My little brother and sister were suffering because of me. Nowhere to go, I was 13 years old. I headed to Surrey, wasn't sure what would be there. I found a gang of guys who helped me, offered me some food and a place to stay. I did not know they were a real gang. I will leave this part out of my story as I did many things that are awful and I hurt a lot of people. I stayed in a shack. That shack got raided shortly after. I remember I talked to some cop saying I was homeless and ended up in the care of the ministry. They tried hard to help me. Every foster house I went into, I'd get in a fight, used to open their house, rip them off. Soon my only options were high-risk foster houses, safe houses, detox, or the streets, which I spent a lot of time on. I accessed services in this province all over the place. Langley, Surrey, New West, Vancouver, Burnaby, just to name a few. Went to detox a ton, usually when I just needed a break. Lots of alcohol and drug counselors, shrinks, anger management groups, adolescent psychiatry units, many hospital visits, and even more ambulance trips to the ER due to overdose. Police interactions, therapists, pill combinations, so many different types, so many different combinations. Trauma therapy like OEI and EMDR was shut down my throat. Rehab centers, lots of them, long-term recovery houses. Jesus, my social worker even tried to send me to Terrace and Prince George recovery houses. I tried 12-step programs, I tried it all. It wasn't until I was done that help actually did something. I always joke I'm the $1 million kid. If you add up all my services I received in this province, it's probably how much was spent on me. I had never even known how important an attachment was. No workers tried to build one with me. I always was a youth getting service, and then it was on to the next kid. Never felt like a real person, always felt like a member of the system. I had very few times from 12 until 18 that I was clean longer than a week. Maybe a couple of weeks, a couple of times. I remember one of the worst things was having to repeat my story to these professionals that I felt like didn't give a shit. Also, I remember there was more than once I thought I was done, I would reach out for help. And imagine this, a wait list, a long one at that. Something else that stands out from being 15, I saw this one alcohol and drug counselor. His damn chair was so much higher than mine. I felt like he was looking down at me, even though looking back he probably was. I would have had face scabs, maybe even a visible track mark. But it made me feel like shit. I left and I never went back. Every time I managed to get sober, my dreams got worse, my anxiety got worse, my anger got way worse. I concluded I was better high. Workers from all sorts of fields wanted to treat my addiction as the problem. When I was 16, my goal was to stay alive until I was 19 years old. I honestly had to try and make this goal. I really didn't think I would make it. Contemplated suicide on more than one occasion. I am sure that people looked at me as just a gaghead or a speed freak for a long time. It wouldn't even cross people's minds that it was the only way I knew how to survive. These dreams I still experience would have driven me mad. Drugs saved my life and almost took it at the same time. My addiction is a symptom of my PTSD. My ADHD is a symptom of my PTSD. I figured that out on my own when I finally cleaned up. Well, that's enough about the bad. Let's talk about the good stuff. How did I clean up? What worked? Well, I knocked up a girl when I was 17 years old. Kept using until just before she gave birth to my beautiful daughter, who was turning 10 years old this year. My daughter gave me a reason to try and clean up. My last time using, I remember I'd been high for 6 days or something like that. I often lost track of days. I managed to call this guy Kerry. I said, I need help, what the fuck am I gonna do? I don't know why he stood up to me back then, but he sure did. Maybe because he was no bullshit. I called him, and he said, there are kids that want help. If you don't, nothing I say or do will change that. He ran an anger management program I had to do when I was 13 to avoid a jail sentence and avoid being kicked out of the industry. Something made me remember him through my journey. Thank God I did. I think I was in New West, he came to pick me up. We started calling detox centers. I felt safe with this man. I felt we quickly built an attachment, something I now know is the most important thing in a youth's life. Gone to detox, I remember I was gonna leave to get high. I called him first. Do you want to die? He asked me bluntly. Weighed under 100 pounds, already on death's door. Fuck you. I hung up and I went to leave. I stopped and thought, do I really want to die? I didn't, so I stood. This man hasn't sugarcoated anything with me from this day until today. We have built an extremely healthy bond and attachment. He provided a safe place to hang out, and guess what? He didn't press me on my traumas. He didn't press me on anything. We would usually just shoot the shit, sushi and good conversation. Amazing how something so small helped me turn my life around. By doing this, my therapy started. Not your clinical therapy, real life therapy. For For the last 10 years, we've stayed in touch. I helped give back to the program that still runs and is now for kids that don't fit in the box. What fucking box? They're in a box with mental health and addiction, okay? I recently had a breakthrough. I stated, who am I without my trauma, without my addiction to carry? He smiled and said, who knows, but you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now. He was referring to me helping with the collaborative, sitting on a local lab, speaking in front of all of you, sharing about attachment and a real bond. About keeping it simple, about creating safe spaces where youth aren't pressured, about yoga and meditation being absolute lifesavers, about something as simple as learning how to take a real breath. That wait list should not be tolerated if a youth reaches out. They need to be able to access services immediately. That medication should not be the first reaction. These are the things that, yeah, for me, maybe wouldn't have been super effective, but what I'm seeing in other youth, this shit is working. We have to reduce stigma. We are people too. I guess when I look back at my life, it all happened for a reason. Still trying and searching for full answers to why. Then I look around at this collective body, and I feel very proud to be a part of it. I am so grateful we as a province are recognizing the current system has a long way to go. Well, that is about 1/10 of my story. I experienced a lot of pain in my addiction and caused even more. Today, I am so grateful I did not die before my 19th birthday. So grateful. Every youth in this province deserves dignity while being treated for addiction and mental health problems. Thank you.